Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to this show's all about a little well-known card game called Magic the Gathering. So on today's show, we brought on none other than the other half of the Dark Depths podcast, Michael Mapson, and we discussed a lot about competitive Magic, mainly Legacy, Modern, and some Pioneer, and what it takes to try to get back into competitive Magic. Before we begin, let's get a little bit of announcements out of the way. This show is sponsored by cardsphere.com, the best place to buy, trade, and sell your Magic singles and sealed product, as well as Alter Sleeves. Use coupon code MAGICWITHZUBY on checkout to get some really awesome alters for your cards that, you don't have to draw on the cards. They're just sort of like little penny sleeves that go over the art. And so when you're tired of them, just take them off and boom, you got the original art. Awesome. You don't have to get your card drawn over or anything like that if you're not into it. Awesome. So you can also find the show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Spotify. TuneIn Radio and Spotify. You can follow me on Twitter at Magic with Zuby, on Instagram at Magic_with_Zuby, and you can find me on TikTok at mtgzuby, and you can email me with any questions you may have at mtgzuby@gmail.com. So without further ado, please help me and welcome Michael Mapson to the show. All right, Zuby here, and I have with me none other than the other half of the Dark Depths podcast, Mapson. Thank you for joining. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll be honest, it's been kind of a crappy day on a lot of fronts, but no, I'm okay.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Everything okay?
Yeah, I had to get a tire replaced. Found mold
Oh,
in my
damn.
basement.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw that tweet. Oh, shit.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? Like at the end of the day, things could be worse.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of last year when I had a flood in my bathroom and they had to, like, pretty much tear out my whole house. And I was like, we were displaced out of our house for a few months, so mold and floods are different, but I definitely understand it's not going to be fun to deal with either way.
Yeah, our house actually flooded twice over the past year.
Oh,
It's the
damn.
mold, or it's some of the
Oh,
mold.
oh, was it in the basement it flooded?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
not as bad as having like a main floor flooded. Like we don't use the basement very much. It's not finished, but it's still unfortunate. It's where I keep my magic cards.
oof.
I have, like my instruments down there, so like that's where I go to kind of like get decks ready. It's where my wife tends to work out, so we would like that space to be usable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we don't have basements down here in Florida, so I don't know what it's like to have one. But I thought I saw a tweet of yours saying like your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover it or something.
So typically, homeowners insurance does not cover flooding and
Oh, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, flooding and or mold. So we're gonna have to double check our policy to make sure it doesn't, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. So I'm just kind of expecting the worst.
Oh,
Turns
shit,
out getting
man.
mold removed is really expensive, so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to hold off on any cool magic purchases for a while.
Oh, dude, dude, oh man, I've been about a year of not being able to like make any like sealed magic purchases. Like, I've bought little singles here and there and all that for the past year, but it's just now coming to a point where I bought my first like sealed box of magic in almost a year now, and holy shit, it feels good. But dude, I know the pain you're about to go through. It's not fun. It sucks.
I actually don't know the last time I bought sealed product. I just like don't open packs. It's just not who I am. Um, and I will say I'm pretty fortunate. I've got a lot of good friends around with very large collections, so I don't necessarily need to own magic cards. Like realistically, I could sell off my entire collection tomorrow. I would still be able to play any deck I wanted at any event I wanted.
Yeah, I think I remember Billy mentioning something like that too. Um, about you guys know people with big collections and all that. Um, it's interesting because because last year I had to sell off like a really big chunk of my collection just to afford all the repairs and renovations and all that. And the only thing I ended up keeping were really my EDH decks. I had to sell out of Modern and Legacy. I had to sell out of those two to help fund my kid's knee surgery that, my healthcare insurance only covered X amount, because I still had to cover, God, how much was it? Like $5,000-$6,000 or some shit like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's rough.
Yeah.
If the listeners are learning anything, it's that insurance is a scam. But
it really is.
Yeah, I think I'm fortunate in that I probably won't have to go that route, but it is going to it's going to suck.
Oh, dude, so even with homeowners insurance last year, we had extensive damage in our bathroom. Our entire kitchen had to get remodeled, half my office, the master bedroom, the hallway that leads to our bedroom, and in our living room had to get redone too. And they were only going to cover like a little bit less than 30,000, and no, like, we saw so many contractors too, and they were like saying there's no way you're going to get all this done for 30,000. I'm all like, oh, fuck, okay. Dude, I had to sell so much stuff, like the rest of my Magic collection, and just it hurt. It sucked. But it's shit like that. I'm kind of glad I had it, because it kind of saved my ass,
Yeah, that's one of the great things about this game is, like, you see people get really deep into things, and then it's like, okay, I'm done. Like, you just don't get any kind of return on investment. Like, at least with Magic, I do know, like, if I ever sold out, like, my Legacy deck, not everything's going to be in top condition, but, like, if I sell Green White Depths and Blue Red Delver, all of a sudden I have 10K in my pocket.
Yeah, right? Right. God. So I wanted to get into the new Magic OP. Oh crap! What is it? The organized play announcement, because I had Billy on last month, and then I think a week or two later the organized play announcement happened, and it's. I'll be honest. I used to play a lot of Standard and Modern, were like my two formats that I played a lot. Legacy, a little bit. I've done 1IQ and a few the PPTQs of Legacy, but it was never my big thing because there was never a huge scene down here with Legacy. But I mean, Modern was my jam though. I freaking loved the hell out of Modern, and seeing that organized play announcement has kind of got me excited a little bit. What are your thoughts on it so far?
Dude, I'm really excited. It's kind of scary because I don't know, everybody like lost their mind about how great it was, and I'm somebody who tends to believe in WotC. Like, I don't get mad at most of the decisions they make. I'm kind of like, okay, I'm sure they had a reason. Like, let's like wait and see. It's funny to me on this one though, because I feel like other people are more excited than I am, even though I'm also excited. I'm just like, I'm like cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Like, I do think it'll be good, but it's hard to know for certain until we actually see it. But like, at the end of the day, it has to be better than what we had, right? Like, the system we had was garbage, and
for
I don't
sure
think anybody would disagree with that. Like, even the people who were like benefiting from the system thought it was garbage. So like, when you're paying people like they were paying the MPL like a good living wage, and they still thought it sucked. Like,
oh, dude, don't even get me. We could go a whole episode about that whole MPL nonsense where they were getting. You're right. They were getting paid a living wage and still didn't want to stream and all that stuff. Like, come on, that's your job. Anyways, so I think the thing that I love the most about the new announcement is how simple it is. It's like, because I can't remember exactly how it used to be. Like, if you wanted to get into like bronze, silver, gold, pro tier, and all the other ways to try to qualify for Pro Tour and all that. But just looking at the announcement on my other screen right here, it's just a basic triangle, go from local to regionals, then try to go to the pro tour. That's about it.
Yeah, so I did actually like the old club system with bronze, silver, gold, platinum, but it was kind of convoluted. Like I thought it was a good system, but it's also very hard to explain to somebody who's new, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, it's very easy to say like, okay, go do well at Magic tournaments and good things will happen, but like, at some point you need to know like, it, so like the cutoff for silver was 22, I believe, which I should know because I was working my way there before they changed the system. But like, somebody who's at like 20 points really, really, really needs to know like, okay, how many more points do I need? I only need 2 points, and like they need to know how to get those points. And that's complicated and not something I think was well explained to people.
Yeah, it
So
wasn't very intuitive back then.
yeah, it also like I felt like they kept changing when the cutoff dates for things was right. Like,
Oh yeah, that's
sometimes
right.
it was like your pro points would carry over for like the next 4 seasons, and then it was like no, it'll carry over for like I don't know, it's like from the start of the year to the end of the year. Like it was just kind of so I do agree with you. I like that this is very simple. I do have some complaints like something the old system did that I don't think this one does as well is it really rewarded consistency. I don't feel like the new one does, but I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself.
Well, what do you mean by that? If you could elaborate.
So, uh, and I guess it's hard for this to be the same because we got rid of GPs under the new system. But like under the old system, it was like I could go and I could just like 12-3 every GP I went to, and that's going to be for listeners who don't know, that's going to be a good finish, like a finish that most people are happy with, but it's not going to be good enough to top eight. It's not going to qualify you for the pro tour. But if I went to like 5 GPs at 12-3 all of them, like okay, now we're making progress. I'm getting pro points for all of these finishes. Can't remember how many pro points that was. I think it was I really don't remember, and I'm not going to try to guess. But like,
Yeah.
if I accumulate enough of those finishes, it's going to qualify me for the pro tour without actually having earned that invite through like spiking a GP. Like, I don't necessarily need to top eight. I just need to consistently show that like I'm close. And I think that was good. It was aspirational. It really gave something for people to work towards because like it sounds so small, but like saying, hey, you need to top eight a GP versus like, hey, you just need to do well at some events is actually a big difference. And sometimes it's just like you get a little bit unlucky. Magic's a game of variance. It's part of what makes it great. Otherwise, we would all just play chess, right? And that's not an insult. Chess, I should clarify. But like, one of the great things about Magic is like, on any given day, anybody can win, right? Like, I could play against John Finkel tomorrow, and John Finkel is definitely better than me. I could play against LSV, and LSV is definitely better than me. And I could just draw a little bit better than them, play well, and 2-0 both of them. But
Hmm.
when you get to like the later stages of the GP, like that variance could work in the other way, and it could be like, hey, I am definitely the better player at this table, but like I have mulliganed to 2, and now I've lost, and that could be like what doesn't get me into the top 8, and now all of a sudden I'm not queued, and that's really kind of crappy. So I like that it used to give that like, hey, you're consistently getting close, like we understand things
I
aren't
can
breaking
see
your
that.
way, but like you think you deserve to
So then, do you feel, at least with what we know now about the organized play, that it may be a little bit more closed off to just the best of the best instead of the ones who are consistent then?
be. I like don't necessarily want to say that because I think either way you're getting the best players to qualify. I think that's just the
Yeah.
system is going to do that, but I just think it feels more punishing this way, right? Like I think you're going to get slightly more heartbreak. I think under the old system it was very easy to say like, okay, well like you just weren't doing it, right? Like you just weren't making it, you weren't consistent, like you didn't deserve to be there. But I can definitely see under the new system, people are going to these tournaments and getting super close, and then it's just like I couldn't quite pull it, and I think that hurts. So I think we should probably actually explain the way the system works. So I don't know if you want to do that, if you want me to do it.
Yeah, I've got it on my other screen right now. So they're saying Wizards provided this list of qualification paths for the Pro Tour. Pro Tour being the what some consider to be, I don't want to say the pinnacle because the World Championship is the pinnacle of Magic play, but let's be honest, it's like that's like the very best of the best of the best Magic players get there. So it's extremely hard, but at least Pro Tour never felt that far off for a lot of Magic players that I've talked with. Like it that always felt that was doable, at least in my experience with talking with a lot of competitive Magic players. So with getting into the Pro Tour, you have to be one of the top finishers at a previous regional championship, with invites passing down as players earn multiple qualifications. Finish with 10 or more wins at a previous Pro Tour, Magic Online Championship showcases. If you're in the Hall of Fame, you get invited to one. Players who finish with 39 or more adjusted match points from the previous 3 Pro Tours rolling. And then top 4 finishers from Magic World Championship receive invites to all 3 Pro Tours. So yeah, if you're not in at least one of the other ones, that you basically have to be a top finisher at a regional championship to get invited, then it sounds like. Or get really lucky on Magic Online.
Yeah, and well, queuing off of a Mox showcase is going to be very challenging for everyone.
Is it? I've never played in one of those. How hard are those?
So they're very they're very tough. So the Mox system is kind of convoluted too, right? When you play in leagues, when you go like 3-2 in a league, you earn what's called a qualifier point. Or if you play in the prelims, you earn them a little bit quicker. The prelims are like kind of more difficult leagues, like higher entries, so like people are really trying a little bit harder. And then once you get 40 QPs, you can enter into the showcase challenges, which they have one for like each format a month. So those are usually like 200 to 300 players per format. And then the top 8 of those gets invited to the showcase qualifier.
Jesus, okay.
And then you have to win the showcase qualifier to qualify for the Mox. So the showcase qualifiers are pretty hard to qualify for.
I didn't realize it was that much grinding.
Yeah, so like I just played in my second one yesterday, and like the easier way to think about it is like it was a 28-person invite-only event that happens like 3 times a year. So like kind of exclusive, and then you have to win that.
Damn. Okay.
And then they have one for Vintage, Legacy, Modern, and Pioneer. I think I can't actually remember what the 4th format they do it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Holy shit! I didn't realize it was that tough. I thought it'd be something similar to like the arena opens they do.
No. Yeah, I mean they do have like PTQs on Moto sometimes, but even those are kind of tough, right? Like you have to win a 300-person event, 300+ person event. Like the average player in Magic Online is generally speaking better than the average player in paper too.
I can see that.
I think a lot of times it's just you have to be more invested, right? Because I don't think it's like I guess it's subjective, but it's not really that subjective to just say paper Magic is a better game than Magic Online.
I mean, yeah.
I say that as somebody who plays a lot of Moto, and so like you really have to be invested to want to have a paper collection and an online collection, right? So those are the people who are really focusing and care maybe a little bit less about the social aspect and more about winning, so trying harder. That's not to say that like you can't be great at Magic without ever touching Magic Online or Magic Arena, but just the average skill to skill, the people playing online are better.
Yeah, for sure. That's I used to play a lot of Pauper on there years ago, and I just mainly play EDH on there every once in a while when I get the EDH bug and I don't feel like setting up Spell Table or something. because I get too lazy to set up my webcam. And I mean, it hits the niche, but it's also not the greatest. It's better than Arena, at least. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty big Moto defender. I'm not a fan of Arena, but teach their own. I'm just glad that there's ways to play.
yeah. I mean, hell, we could go to a whole interview about just Arena itself. Like, I had such high hopes for it in the beginning of it, and now it's just, yeah. I mean, I'll play it. I like playing draft on Arena, whenever a new set drops, because it's just quick and easy to get a game in and draft my deck and get off. But for Magic Online Vintage Cube, oh, all day, every day. I'm freaking all about that Vintage Cube.
Yeah, I love all the cubes that they've been putting on Magic Online. I think them doing the community spotlight cubes is also really cool.
Yes.
I don't know if you got the chance to play Autumn Burchett's cube.
No.
Was up, but like, oh my god, they did a terrific job. That was so fun. I mean, granted, I'm biased because I like a lot of the archetypes that were viable. Like, there was a land strategy, and anyone who knows me knows I love having lands. There was like different like creature-based combos, like with like Safi Ericssada, Revelar Glue. So I was all about it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I need to get more into cubing. I have a D&D cube that I've been slowly building. When the flood happened last year, I had to suddenly stop getting all the cards for it. But that would be like a goal of mine as a content creator, to get like one of my cubes spotlighted in Magic Online. That'd be freaking amazing. That's like,
yeah, that would be cool.
No, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I've thought about designing my own cube. I think it's so much work.
It can be.
I've listened to like, so I don't know if you follow Ryan Overturf's content, but
I think I've seen some of his. Yeah.
Okay, so he has a podcast, the 540. It's him and Ryan Saxon. It's all about cubing, and they had an episode on what it takes to like make a cube, and I did get interested and started working on it, and then I got lazy. I really need to go back and actually create it, because I do think it would be fun to like I've played a lot of cubes, and you can tell when somebody's really put thought into it, and there's definitely a big difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things. That's what I love about Cube, because if I had to pick one format to play for the rest of my life, it'd be Limited, because I love Draft and Sealed, and Cube is like perfect because it's the type of format where, if I want to play it with friends, we don't have to keep buying packs together, in order to play. And one of my favorite things about Cube is when you first build it, and you have all the archetypes down and all that stuff, but you haven't completely balanced it yet, because you don't really know. You try your best to balance the colors, right? But you won't really know until you start playtesting it. And that's my favorite part, because you'll start seeing like, oh shit, I made green way too strong. Oh no, black is like the worst color out of them. What can we do to help boost it up? I don't know, that's my favorite part about it.
One of the issues I know I was going to run into was green was definitely going to be the best color of my cube. But I wasn't actually planning to work around that. I was planning to just like tell everyone up front, like, hey, this is the best color. Just know that as you draft. Because I was working on like a lands-based cube.
Yeah.
So like every color just had like a deep, like something they were doing involving lands, and for better or worse, green is always going to be the strongest color in that, right? Like everything kind of works with green.
Yeah, green's way too good. I mean, it can do literally everything.
I mean, can't counter spells.
It will. Does it have a counter? Doesn't green have a counter, or no?
I don't think so. I mean, it's got stuff that makes it uncounterable.
Yeah, there's that stuff.
You can argue that like Veil of Summer or Autumn's Veil is a counter spell.
In a sense, yeah, because it's yeah, I think you're right. I can't think of anything, because I know like black has a counter spell. Red has a few counter spells like Pyroblast, Tybalt's Trickery, Hydroblast. Hell, even white has a few counter spells. My problem with some of the cubes that I've made is I make white too powerful. And because right, because I love my favorite thing to always draft in any kind of new format is, you know, the go wide strategies. And sometimes I put too many, you know, that go wide like token enablers and aggro. If it's too easy to do in white, and especially when you pair it with red too. But yeah, I usually have like blue and red are usually the ones I have the hardest with trying to balance. Because blue I try to make too control-y, depending on the archetype, and that can be too slow, you know? And red can just whiff if it's not aggro enough, depending on the archetype I want to do, maybe the top end isn't good enough, not enough bombs or something like that. I don't know. It's fun though. Man, so have you, ever since that announcement has happened, have you noticed an increase in like Magic play in your area? Are you still going to F&Ms or anything like that, or?
So I have not actually had much time to be out and about lately. I don't know, I've been very busy. Like I said, dealing with the flooding in the basement. I've actually been married for a couple of years, but I just went on my honeymoon.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Congrats.
So I just thank you. So I haven't been home much for various reasons. I mean, out much. There was like Magic Online events that lined up at times that like my local store would do things. So like I skipped FNM because I was playing in a PTQ online. Right? You know, like I skipped Modern the 1 week because I was playing in like a last chance qualifier. So I can't really judge what's been going on in the area, but I know everyone I've talked to has been really excited. Like it's really nice. Like I said, the system has to be better, right? Like the old system was bad. So from as far as I can tell, everyone seems excited, which is really cool. I don't know if you've seen an uptick in excitement.
I haven't gone to an LGS in probably like 2 years or so. Ever since
that would
really.
Make it difficult.
What?
I said that would.
Yeah.
Certainly make it difficult.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's I'm actually planning on trying to go in an LGS this weekend to do the Streets of New Capenna pre-release. My first pre-release since. Fuck, when was the last time I went to I can't remember the last time I went to a pre-release. Damn, wow. I'll have to think back on that. I do not remember the last time I went to a pre-release. Holy shit.
I love a good pre-release. Love a good pre-release. Unfortunately,
I know.
Or fortunately, you can say, I have a wedding to go to this weekend, so not sure if I'll be able to get any pre-releasing in, but maybe Sunday after we get back.
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah, I do think people are excited. You can also just tell by the numbers online. Like, the Magic Online leagues have gone up.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there's been a huge return of play. I think some people are also just, like, sick of the economy on Arena. So they're, like, migrating back. But really, the thought is that, you know, the system is likely going to focus on Modern and Pioneer. So those leagues have been doing amazingly well in Moto lately. People are really excited. They want to be ready when the regional... God, I can't think of what they're called. The regional tour qualifiers come to their area. They want to be ready for them.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. I really wanted to try to go to DreamHack Dallas in June, but probably wouldn't be a good idea. I mean, I'm traveling so much for work in the next few weeks, and I don't think my wife would be happy if I travel again for another weekend. And since I won't be home for like the next couple weeks. But I'm definitely going to try to at least make DreamHack Atlanta later this year. And I really hope they start announcing like Command Fest or something. Cause like I'm itching to go out and play some Magic, not just at an LGS. Cause that's, you know, it's okay. Like, but I want to like get out there with the crowd again. Like I miss going to GPs, Magic Fest, and all that, and just seeing people and playing so much draft and EDH, and that by the end of the weekend you're sick of the game and you come home and then load up Arena or Magic Online again and keep playing.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything big events make me want, it's to play more Magic. I'm super excited for Atlanta. When the announcement first happened, in a group chat with some of my friends, and I was just like, should I just book my ticket now? And for anyone who knows me, I'm not really a big side event person, so I was just like, hey, I'm qualifying for this thing. Like, or I just buy my ticket now, and I think we already have a group of like 4 people who are just committed to going.
Oh,
really
nice.
Exciting getting stuff out like this again.
Yeah, I'll probably just drive up there because it's like a 8-hour drive for me.
It's I can't remember how long for us. I think like 12 hours. I really hate driving, so I know Billy was down to drive, and I was like, I am buying a flight. And
yeah, it also depends on gas prices at the time too. Like if gas prices are as crazy as they are right now, it's probably cheaper to fly. To be honest.
Yeah, it's but I'm really excited. You mentioned missing GPs. Unfortunately, those did not come back with announcements. So.
But they did mention Command Fest though on one of the weekly Magics. Not during the organized play stream, but they mentioned during one of they were talking about New Capenna or something. But there hasn't been any more info since then.
Okay, see, I did not catch that. But yeah, I miss GPs so much. Like, those events were awesome. And I'm excited that DreamHack Atlanta might kind of have some of that feel to it, that nostalgia. It'll definitely rub the nostalgia. I've been going to the SCGCon events. I've been having a delightful time with those.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very excited. But I'm also just excited for the regional tour qualifiers, just like having events at an LGS that I feel like I care about again, Like, don't get me wrong, I love Magic, so like I'm always gonna go to events. It doesn't, as long as there's something, but like there's a big difference in feel playing for like first place when it's like a couple $100 versus playing for first place when it like qualifies you to the next step. It's just, I think people have this desire to advance, right? Like you hear about this with jobs a lot too. Like one of the biggest things that people look for is the opportunity for career advancement. And like, Magic's not Magic is a career for some people, but for most people it's not a career, but it's the same thing. You just like want to go to the next step, and being able to go start out at like my local area and like hang out with friends, but like also have that qualify me for the main event at Atlanta. It feels really good. And then like going to Atlanta and qualifying for wherever they put the Pro Tour is going to feel great too,
Yeah, no, I think you hit on something there, because that's what attracted me to competitive Magic at first, where, we're getting older here. I love playing video games, but I can't keep up with, like I loved playing competitive video games back when I was younger, StarCraft, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, stuff like that, but I can't keep up, with, kids younger than me in those games. But Magic, and not just Magic, but card games themselves feel more achievable for as we get older, right? Because we don't need, those fast reflexes in order to win a game. We just have to memorize like 5 million rules and, whole bunch the meta and what to do during certain things. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but, it's like the basics of it. We don't have to train our reflexes to, get 500 APM in a match,
Definitely agree with that. Like, I used to play a lot of League of Legends, and I was not great. And, there was definitely a hard cap on how good I could ever be, because my reflexes are only so fast.
Well, yeah, and they get slower as you age too, and you may not realize it, but damn, I try playing Call of Duty nowadays, and it's like, fuck, I'm so bad compared to, when I was like 16, 17, just kicking ass everywhere. Now it's like, fuck, I'm the old man trying to yell at the little kids.
Yeah, so as I get worse at that kind of stuff, I think I'm getting better at Magic. So
Yeah.
definitely, definitely excited.
Now, and it's really had me like curious to not go into competitive Magic like I used to. Because I used to do, F&M every Friday and then do whatever PPTQs and IQs were around at least once a month, right? I couldn't go like every weekend or anything like that, but it's kind of got me wanting to get into that. My buddy who's got a really big collection has so many modern decks, so I could always borrow one of his, because there's no way I'm going to buy into modern and legacy nowadays. It's God. I spent a lot of money on my legacy elves deck about 5-6 years ago when Gaia's Cradles were $150 a pop. Now it's like I can't see myself getting into legacy at all without my wife killing me.
Yeah, they're it's it's very expensive to get into legacy, and even though it's my favorite format, it's hard to tell people to get into it, right? Like,
especially now, like it was hard getting it to back in my day. Well, I say back in my day, like 5 years ago, it was hard, but dude, it's like feels like it's 10 times harder now.
Yeah, and like for the competitive events, like the regional tour qualifiers, they can't even be legacy anyways. Like the stores have no choice of what format to run, but it's standard, modern, pioneer, or sealed. So like
that makes sense. Yeah.
It's mainly going to be modern, pioneer, and sealed. I don't think that many stores are going to run standard, although, time could prove me wrong. But 0% of stores are going to run legacy because it's not an option. And
yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah, it does, because there's such a variant. There's always going to be like legacy 2Ks and stuff, but I don't know. It's so hard to tell somebody like, hey, drop 4K on like buying Blue-Red Delvers so that you can play
just 4K on the lands, not even any of the other game pieces. Oh, and the Force of Wills too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't actually know how much the deck costs. It's probably closer to 6.
God, it's crazy. It's I know I was going over this with Billy, just talking about what I remember some of the staples were in modern and like how they don't even exist anymore. Like how Snapcaster, like Bolt Snap Bolt, he said is too slow now compared to some of the other stuff you can do. And just looking at some of the deck prices, just if you go to MTG Goldfish and just look at some of the basic deck prices for modern legacy, just oh my god. At least the Zendikar fetch lands are way cheaper now from what I saw like last time I looked.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy to me how cheap they are. So, I mean, I don't really keep up with prices. I'm just like not interested. Either I need to own something or I don't. So like,
yeah.
It just is what it is. But I, like I sold some Verdant Catacombs because I wanted to get the old border ones. And like when the person at the store told me how much they were going to give me for my Verdants, that's it. Like, I know you're not ripping me off, but like,
damn.
Like, why is it so low?
Oh god, it's so weird too. Like, I think I saw Scalding Tarns for like $25 or $30 or something like that. Like they weren't very expensive. Which that's crazy. Those always used to be at least $100 cards. I'm going on MTG Goldfish right now, just looking at Murktide Regent, just the list. They're saying one Scalding Tarn is $30. And yet the Polluted Deltas are $50 each. Which that feels like the opposite.
Yeah, I mean the MH2 reprintings I think did a lot.
Yeah, it did.
Those fetches have been kind of printed into the ground, which is good.
Honestly, and good
because you want people to be able to afford the game.
Yeah, that's always been holy shit. Sorry. Jace the Mind Sculptor is only $50 now? What? Oh my god, that
Art
used...
is no longer better than all.
Oh god, that's so sad. Oh man. I know... Oh god. I remember when that was so controversial when that got unbanned because everybody thought it was going to warp the format again. And I mean, blue white control was a good thing for a while, but I guess it's not as good anymore.
I had a lot of fun when they unbanned Jace. Um, so, for people who don't know me, I play a lot of Amulet Titan.
Ooh,
And
nice.
so I was playing Jason there for a bit, which wasn't necessarily the best home for it, but playing Jason on turn two was like pretty sweet.
I thought Amulet Type was more mono green. Is it sometimes Simic?
So it's really like a green with like a pretty heavy blue splash, right? Because you have to play Tolaria West.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically you don't have to do anything, but you want to play Tolaria West because it's land you can find off of your Titan that then lets you find Summer's Pact and lets you find a second Titan.
Oh, I
And the
see.
deck's always played a good bit of blue, and like now in your sideboard, some people play Spell Pierce, like Spell Pierce doesn't really see play anymore, but at the time,
Jesus.
people on Spell Pierce or Disdainful Stroke or Swan Song. So you definitely have to adjust the mana base a little bit. Like I played Botanical Sanctum, which I wouldn't have otherwise played, but just being able to like go like turn one Secret Tribe Scout, like turn two Amulet, like Simic Growth Chamber, slam a Jace was just like this is so fun.
Oh god, that's gross. I love it though. That sounds a lot of fun though. Oh my god.
Let me tell you, getting getting a Jace down on turn two in your combo deck makes it really easy to have the right pieces.
Oh my god, I bet just brainstorm on turn two. Essentially free brainstorm every turn. Oh man. See, this is making me miss competitive Magic, man. Just I don't want to go deep into it like I was before, but damn, like my decks were blue white control, um, Grixis Delver. This is all modern, and then I had mono red aggro. Oh, in modern elves as well too. Those were my four decks. My blue white control was my best one at the time, but God, that deck was such a fucking slog though. Holy crap! It's I've won once with that deck by getting to ult Jace one time, and that was like the pinnacle achievement I've ever had in modern. Was getting to ult Jace on someone. That was great.
The deck is still good and still slow. When you watch people ultimate 5-mana Teferi, it's just like, what is happening?
Oh man, I love 5-mana Teferi. 5-mana Teferi, 3-mana Teferi, and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Three best planeswalkers ever. Probably the most.
I mean, that's not true, but we can pretend.
Oh, maybe the most miserable planeswalkers, but it's
I
neither
don't even
here.
know if that's true. I don't think Jason makes that list.
What would be considered the most miserable now? I mean, shit.
Oko?
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, I think the two Teferis still I think it's probably those two Teferis and Oko would round out the most miserable.
Is he still a thing in modern? Like, is he still played a lot?
Oh no, he's banned.
Oh, that's he's banned in Pioneer and Modern, right?
And Legacy.
And Legacy? Oh shit. Okay. See, this is how much I pay attention. Damn, I completely forgot about that. Oh yeah, didn't they ban that the Titan that came out of Theros,
Uro.
Uro. Didn't he get banned too?
Yeah. Well, in Modern and Pioneer. Still legal in Legacy.
Is he even any good in Legacy?
Oh yeah, he's good. I mean, I think those decks are often misbuilt. Because a lot of times that's like the primary win condition. Because I mean that card's just super strong. The issue is, it has to go to your yard, so then you make surgical good against you, and then it's like a lot of times you surgical their Uro, and then it's like, oh, your only threats left in your deck are like 2 Ice Fang Koalas. Oh, you're never winning this game.
Oh,
So
okay.
the card is good, but it's just awkward because post board you have to like jump through hoops and all that to get surgical. But like draw a card is like repeatable draw a card is very good, and having a mana advantage is good in every format, and that's what Arrow provides. Um, in 3 life, like while you would never play like just a card that said gain 3 life, like when it's just kind of tacked on incidentally, like that's pretty good, right? Like if you think about the fact that the premier creature or the premier deck in Legacy is Delver, right? Delver hits for chunks of 3, Arrow gains you 3. That's like a whole turn.
I love that. In Legacy, Delver is still a monster in that format, and he's been a monster for how long now? Since he came out in Innistrad?
Yeah, some form of Delver has basically been one of the top decks at every point since it's come out. Like I don't
I
think it's
love
always
that.
been the top deck,
But
but
it's been in like the top 10, right? Or top 5?
it's been easily top 5, probably top 3 at every given point.
God, because I remember I just looking on MTG Goldfish, it's showing Is It Delver as the number one. But I remember when I played Legacy, it was like Sultai or Teamer Delver or Rug or Bug, whatever they called it back then. Delver were some of the top ones, and I don't remember what the deck list were or anything like that. But God, it's always been that boy Delver's Secrets. It's freaking, he's too good.
I think Red Delver is one of the most miserable decks that's ever existed, but
Which one?
who was
Red Delver?
Rug?
Oh, Rug Delver. Oh, yeah.
Back when they were on like Stifle and Nimble Mongoose.
Oh God, what was the one? I can't remember if it was a Delver deck, but I think one of the cards got banned. It was the you'd play Sensei's top, and then there'd be an enchantment where you reveal the card
Counterbalance.
counterbalance. Yeah, didn't that get banned in Legacy?
Top got banned.
Oh, top got banned. Okay, dude. I remember watching that on SCG events or I think more SCG events, dude. Talk about the most boring deck to watch. Oh my gosh, it was so boring.
People always say that, but I thought that deck was great. I mean, like, and I didn't really play it, but playing against it, I thought was like really interesting.
Yeah,
I think a
playing
lot of
against it
people,
was fun because you have to like try to beat them at their own game, right?
but I think a lot of people didn't know how to do that, and like one of the big issues was like the deck was really good, so people picked it up, but then the deck has a lot of decisions, so people were really slow, um, and it was just like it sucked because like I really think the deck kind of died just as much because of the bad players as because of the good players. And like in the hands of the
Yeah.
bad players, just so slow because people would be like, end of turn, spin top, and they'd be like, upkeep, spin top, and it's like nothing has changed. Like, what are you doing?
That's right. Oh man.
Or like they'd spin top on their turn, right? And you would like untap, play a spell, and they'd be like, I'm trying to remember what's on top for my counterbalance. It's like, my guy, come on.
It's like you can write it down, right? If you wanted to. Oh man, I forgot all about that. Holy shit. God, because that.
Yeah, I miss top because like I played Painter, and that was since its top deck. It
Ooh.
wasn't slow, right? It wasn't overpowered. Like my win rate with the deck was very good, but it wasn't like the deck wasn't like crushing everything or anything, right? It was just like a good fun deck, and like Nick Fit used to play top, and like nobody has ever accused Nick Fit of being too good, or at least nobody should have ever accused
Yeah.
Nick Fit of being too good. And it just like I don't know. I thought it sucked seeing top go just because like it hit so many decks other than just miracles, and like counterbalance actually is a miserable card. Like sometimes people still play it, and like I don't know personally if they get a blind flip to work with counterbalance, like to me that's so much more frustrating than like okay I let them assemble their 2 cards, and now I've been locked out because I screwed up. Like them just going, oh, I have a counterbalance. Oh, I flip brainstorm, counter your ponder. Like, ugh.
I used to play it in my Grand Arbiter EDH deck, but I purposely didn't put Sensei's Divining top because I didn't want that really boring gameplay loop. But I eventually took it out. But it's just like you said. I loved getting the blind counter off of the cards off people. Okay, dang, Counterbalance is still. It's not an expensive card. It's $18, but damn, I thought it would have gone down in price.
I mean, it's still good.
Yeah.
And like people are playing it in Delver sideboards right now because it's like kind of messed up in the mirror. So your deck is almost entirely 1-drops. It's like 1-drops, Espresso Iteration, and Murktide.
Interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, Murktide Regent's that new from Modern Horizons 2. Dude, it's great. Modern Horizons 2 feels like just the way they release all these sets is just like Modern Horizons 2's 1-year anniversary is what, next month or in June or something like that, and yet it feels like it. I don't know. It feels like it's been forever ago already.
Yeah, they come out with a lot of sets now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super excited about the D&D set. I loved the first Commander Legends. Like, that was so much fun to draft, and can't wait to draft this one. Do you play Commander at all?
I have one deck. I used to play a ton. It actually used to be my favorite form. Over time, I got like kind of bored of it. I sold off most of my decks to like really get into having a bigger collect. Well, slightly to have a larger collection, slightly to pay rent. You know.
Oh yeah.
Broke college student things. But I have a Jaya Ballard Task Mage deck. It's not particularly good, but I don't know. She was one of the generals I used to have in the deck. It's fun for me. I think it's interactive enough. Like I play like Pyroblast and stuff, and like you can just destroy blue things. So like it's interesting because sometimes I sit down and like I look around the table and nobody's on blue, and I'm just like, oh no, my deck is so bad. Like all these hate cards, and they just don't matter. But then I don't know, like when it gets to actually be interactive, it's super fun. I'm like really mad because I play a lot of Phoenixes in the deck, and they just like spoiled like the red-black legendary like Phoenix creature.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm just like so mad that card's not mono red because it's like perfect for my deck. I just can't play it.
Yeah, what does that one even do? Like I saw it, but I didn't even read what it does though.
I don't actually remember what it does. It's like something about like if a creature enters from your battlefield, or I mean enters the battlefield from your graveyard, I think you get to do something.
Oh, here we go. It's 2 black and a red, a Phoenix creature. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card left your graveyard this turn, target Phoenix you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. Oh shit. Oh damn, that's good. Whenever another Phoenix you control dies, you may cast Cyrix from your graveyard. That's pretty cool.
Like, I play with a bunch of Phoenixes just because you can pick them back up. Like you can pitch them to Jaya, blow something up, pick it back up. So it's like, okay, free value, like extra squeeze or whatever. But like, I just want to have like that creature in play and like a goblin while they're going, and just like do a bunch of damage and stuff.
Yeah, maybe it's time to make a Rakdos deck then.
No, I refuse to leave Jaya behind.
You're not leaving her behind. Just build another one.
No. I barely play the one deck I have.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's I mainly play shit. I barely play my paper decks as it is right now for EDH, and I just mainly play over Spell Table nowadays. I don't go to an LGS or anything, but hopefully soon. Like I'm itching to get back into it. Yeah, man. So one thing I wanted to bring you on and talk to you about, in terms of competitive Magic, since you and Billy are pretty, I don't know. Would you consider you guys pretty deep into competitive Magic?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. One question I had for you all. So, for just use me as an example, for someone who wants to get back into competitive Magic, whether that's playing standard, modern, pioneer, not legacy, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to. Like, what would you recommend for someone who's you know basically doesn't have a collection anymore?
So the first thing I would recommend is downloading Magic Online.
Done.
Well, so I guess first I should I guess I would ask like, hey, like do you have like friends in the area, right? Because the easiest, but assuming they don't have many friends in the area or like friends don't have large collections, download Magic Online, get Card Hoarder or Mana Traders. Personally, I have
Yes.
Mana Traders, but like I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. I think each are better for different lifestyles. Right? Like, because Card Hoarder kind of charges you. This is like not quite by the minute, but like they kind of charge you like by the minute, whereas Mana Traders is kind of like here you're gonna pay this much, do your thing. So like if you're not gonna play a ton, I think Card Hoarder is better. But like if you're gonna play a lot, the Mana Traders is better. But
I
like
see.
Mana Traders has different tiers for how much you can rent.
Yeah, so this is
And
for
it's not like
renting cards, right?
yeah,
Okay.
uh,
So you don't have to actually purchase the cards, you just borrow them in a sense.
yeah. So I would definitely sign up for one of those. Mana Traders like $35 a month for a reasonable amount. And I would start with Pioneer. Um, and Pioneer's not even my favorite format, but the I do think a lot of the RPTQs are going to be. I guess that's what they're called. No, RTQs. Um, that sounds really bad.
RTQ?
Yeah, it sounds awkward.
It
Um,
does. Regional tournament qualifiers or regional tour qualifier?
Regional Oracle.
Yeah, that does
Or
sound
no,
weird.
it's RCQ.
Oh, yeah, regional championship qualifiers. Okay.
Uh, but I think a lot of the RCQs will be Pioneer. I don't know that for sure, but the first regional championship is going to be Pioneer, so I think a lot of stores will just kind of, you know, pick the same format. Um, so I would like just start by exploring different decks. Like go to MTG Goldfish, look at the top 8 or so decks, and pick one that looks interesting to you, and just play a couple leagues with it. Um, and you don't have to love it, but just kind of see what it's like, see if you like it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Um, and then if you like it, great. You can work towards building it in paper, right? Or you could be like, oh, I hate this. You can move on. And thankfully, you didn't just spend however many dollars on it. Right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
think,
looking at prices for Pioneer decks right now, I mean, just to preface, it is a lot of money, right? Because they can go anywhere from $1 to $500, depending on what you build. But I mean, comparatively, they are cheaper than modern or legacy. But
Pioneer is also just the cheapest format to get into. The prices on standard are going to be cheaper, but with standard rotating, you're going to spend more. Like you're going to have to do less to keep up with Pioneer. But I think, Pioneer offers a lot of different decks that would appeal to different people. Like you have your Blue Red Phoenix if you really like cantripping and like that kind of sequencing is going to feel rewarding to you. But then you could also do like the mid range thing if you want to play like the Niv to like deck, or you could play like the Lotus combo deck if you are into comboing. That deck's wild. Um, like that deck just, especially the sideboard for the deck. Like looking at that deck, it just looks like somebody kind of reached into like their EDH deck building binder and were like, "What random 15 cards do I want to play?" Like, they all serve a point, and I think that
that's
deck's
awesome.
um, like, or if you want a combo that might be slightly less brain melty, you can play like Jeskai Ascendancy, or like,
Oh, they have Just Guys Ascendancy combo.
yeah, that deck's
Oh,
sick.
yeah.
You get to go off with Sylvan Awakening, the 3-drop card that like turns all your
Oh,
lands
yeah.
into 2/2 creatures. So then you get to play like your ops and stuff, and you're generating a bunch of mana, and your lands are getting huge, and then you kill them. It's good, clean fun. Or you might be like, oh, I like beating people down, and so you play Winota. But like, Pioneer is definitely not my favorite format, but it does have a variety of ways to play, and there's like a lot of decks that are good. So I would start there, right? Like I would build that deck, and then start just going to events. You know, it might be worth checking to make sure there's local stores around that run Pioneer before you start.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to like build Pioneer and then you go to your LGS and they're like, we only play Modern. Get out of our face.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that's a good entry point. And then like, you know, once you like one deck, you might be like, oh, I love this format. You might build multiple decks. Or the other thing you could do is you could purposely build something that like will kind of let you build towards Modern too, right? Like if you build, we'll stick with Phoenix. You know, Phoenix is the best deck in Pioneer, so like if you build it, then you have some overlap with Modern, not a ton, but you know, you have your Spire Buff canals, you have your Steam vents, you have your ops and stuff. Like, not that ops is expensive, but like, hey, you might have this start for like Blue Moon and Modern. Not that Blue Moon is a great deck, but something to get you started. Or you have like the land base for Storm, which again, I don't really recommend building Storm, but it's something. I actually don't even know what the best overlap would be. Probably Blue-White Control, because that's kind of good in both formats. That has a good amount of overlap, I think.
Okay.
Or if you build like, yeah, I'm just trying to think, because like a lot of Modern right now is kind of dominated by Modern Horizons 2 cards.
Yeah, that's kind of what killed Modern for me originally, was War of the Spark and Modern Horizons 1 really kind of killed Modern for me, because it felt like it was starting to turn into a rotating format at that point.
Yeah, I can see that. I think there's a lot of good dynamic gameplay though, so like, even though it's definitely not the format it was 2 years ago, that doesn't bother me as long as it's a good format.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And something that's interesting is like, Modern right now feels like Legacy did a couple years ago, which is actually really cool. Like, I know a lot of people who have kind of fallen out of love with Legacy who have been like, oh shit, Modern's the best. And so that's also really cool to see.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, unfortunately, I hate to do this, but we do have to cut it short here. I do appreciate you coming on and talking whole bunch of Magic with me. Wish we could have talked longer. Thank you so much for coming on. Give a shout out real quick to your podcast and whatever else you want to shout out.
Yeah, so first I want to say thanks for having me on. You know, followed the content for a while, so it's cool to be.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, hopefully if any listeners liked my voice or liked Billy's voice a couple weeks ago, or, you know, if you hated our voice but like torturing yourself, you can check out the Dark Depths podcast. Talk a lot about Modern and Legacy, and, you know, just supporting smaller content creators. Yeah, it's I don't know what else to really say about it.
I know, that's good.
Modern Legacy. You can also like follow us on Twitch and stuff, although neither of us streams a lot. Although I've been like kind of missing streaming. I don't know. I might fire up the old streaming. No,
I know what you mean. No, but thank you so much for coming on, and yeah, it's, you know, I hope we run into each other. I'm hopefully DreamHack Atlanta at least, and maybe get a few games of, who knows what I'll be playing by then. I mean, definitely EDH, but who knows, maybe I'll have some Modern decks by then or something. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, well, thank you again, Mapson, for coming on. Have a good night. Hey, thank you all for listening and watching. You know, a little bit of a short episode. I had a little bit of a family emergency sort of thing happen, but it's all right. Would love to get Mapson on again to talk more. Maybe a little bit later this year when the whole organized play gets more kicked off into the ground to see how it's going. Yeah, we never know. And heck, I might be playing. I really want to play some modern again because holy crap, I kind of miss it. I like EDH, love EDH, but man, that 60 card competitive Magic itch, it's starting to come back a little bit. Anyway, so thank you all for listening and watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you all have a great night.